All right, guys, just want to give you guys a quick tip here on this falls under a lot of standalone ECUs. It's not just like the Megasquirt or anything like that. So if you go to wire something up and you go to key it on and you shut the key off, and look at this, the ECU stays on. So you have to basically power cycle it, and then you'll see that the ECU shuts off. Okay, so I hooked the battery back up. The key is in the on position. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off. And as you can see, the software stays running. Now, watch this. I'm gonna walk over here and we're not gonna unplug the battery. What we're gonna do is we're gonna undo this relay, this one right here. And so I'm gonna unplug this, or struggle to unplug it. And as I unplugged it, you see the ECU shuts off. So what it is that when you wire up an output, what will happen is that well, as you can see, this is plugged back in and now the software's staying off. So what's happening is you're actually back probing power. And so what you need to do there is you actually need to hook up a diode. So this diode goes in between your key on power and your switch. And what it does is that it works as a check valve. When you key it off, you're not going to be feeding power through the relay into the ECU, keeping it on. So if you find out that when you key it off and something stays on, then after you've wired some outputs, basically all you've got to go do is just start disconnecting relays on your outputs and see what shuts it off. Once you figure that out, all you got to do is just wire in your diode, and then you should be good to go. All right, so we got our flyback diode in. As you can see, it's off. We're going to key it on. Fan comes on. I'm going to key it off. And there you go. All right, so we're doing electronic fans. I currently have it set to 145 Fahrenheit. So we're getting here pretty close. See here, we should be seeing it pretty soon though. There you go, we hit 146. Fans are on, working as intended. Sweet. So we got the fans working on the Datsun. At first, we were getting a little bit of backfeed, which is basically power running back from the relay, keeping the ECU on. We did a temp fix with a diode, but we started backfeeding on another circuit, so I ended up, instead of running a bunch of diodes, I just ended up rewiring some of it in the fuse box. Another thing that I need to do is finalize the alternator charge wire. I have that all wired up, but it's obviously still a mess. We haven't found the actual location of where the fuse box is going to be, so all this is still pretty disgusting looking. We need to figure out where this is going to mount the fuse box, and then we can go back and start cleaning up all the wires, and then we can finalize everything else. We still need to add the flex fuel sensor. That's something I haven't done. We have the wiring here, but we're still gonna have to do that as well. And then that will allow us to finally clean up the wiring over here and then clean it all up. So let me go ahead and start this up. Now, earlier or last time we had an issue with idle. I ended up messing with the idle with the adjustment screws on both throttles plus the linkage. And so now we've got it running pretty good, I think. So it's obviously going to be way better with an idle valve, but that's kind of as good as we're going to get. I don't have a place for the wideband currently. I tried to look underneath the car to see where we could get a wideband from, or where we can get the wideband in rather, but there's not really a good place for it because of how the runners are all set up, and plus the exhaust runs over the frames, so there's kind of no good spot to get to it. So we may have to just run the dyno wideband for now until we find a better solution for it. But like I said, it seems like it's running pretty okay. So not too bad. Obviously it's going to need a lot of fine tuning, literally, and we should be ready to go in terms of that. So hopefully here pretty soon we'll get everything finished up and cleaned up, and then actually get it strapped all back down on the dyno, and we can actually finally start tuning this to see what kind of power gains we've got. So we're getting pretty close, fellas.